Wait, you're listening to my dad Prince Dykes.
You're now tuned in to The Investor Show, where we teach simple wealth creation for the common investors. With investment advisor, award-winning author, international speaker, and founder of Royal Financial Investment Group, Prince Dykes.
Once again, guys, this is The Investor Show. This is your host, Prince Dykes, coming all the way live from the beautiful state of Honolulu, Hawaii. Guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in across the globe and across the world that have tuned into the show for the couple of years, and I truly appreciate that. For you guys that are in the Macon, Georgia area, I will be live at the Children's FinTech Expo at Jones County High School on December 3rd, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. That will be the next big thing that I will probably be doing. So if you guys are in the Macon, Georgia, or the Middle Georgia area, come on out to Jones County High School to catch me live there. But always, guys, I don't have a lot of time. And I definitely know you guys don't have a lot of time, so we're going to jump straight into it. So,
What up? It's your boy Vigo Sachi. This is The Investor Show, and you're checking in with the investor genius, Prince Dykes. Let's get it.
So today we have a very, very special guest on the line, as always, like we always do. I was on my LinkedIn, and I was strolling down, and I come across an article from Forbes. And, the title of the article was like, hey, how we got rid of $45,000 worth of debt. And, I think it said 5 years of marriage, but pretty much they eliminated $45,000 of debt. And the reason why that stuck out to me is that something that I noticed over time, and especially with finances, that everybody struggles financially. It's just that different levels for different folks, right? So you have the lower class that buy a bunch of, maybe lottery tickets or something like that. They may struggle with maybe payday loans or something like that, or whatever the case may be. Then the next level, you may have the middle class where they make a little bit more money, but then they may have student loans, they may have some auto loans, and they usually have credit cards, right? Then you go up to your upper class, and usually their big thing is where they probably kind of like overextend themselves in business, or they may not be as liquid and things like that. But I know a lot of you guys that's tuning in today, a lot of you guys are 25 to 35 years old. Maybe you guys probably have a lot of student loans, maybe just gotten married, maybe just having a child or something like that. Well, you might have some debt. A lot of us struggle with credit card debt. It's just the thing of most middle class. And if you don't have it, that's good, because you probably could learn some ways to stay out of it, right? Because nobody is, technically, in most cases, not everybody, probably born into particular debt, but it kind of happens. So when I read this article, I was like, wow, it's a great article. I want Mr. Wingo to come in and tell us his story. As I read through the article, I wanted to tell us his story. How did he do it? How did he get into this slippery slope? And how did he climb his way out? So without further ado, Mr. Wingo, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, Prince, man. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Now, where you at right now?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, you're in Atlanta. Okay, cool. I'll probably be in Atlanta. I'll be in that area next week, going home for Thanksgiving. So tell us a little, for people who don't know Mr. Mark Wingo, who is Mr. Mark Wingo?
Yeah. Well, Mark Wingo is just a little kid in a heart who grew up to a single mother, grew up without a father, and was really curious. I was always a curious kid, and as I got older, I pursued my passion of entrepreneurship, and as entrepreneurship hit me in the face, kicked me in the butt, knocked me down, and all that stuff, I became more conscious of what true entrepreneurship is. So Mark Wingo at the end and the beginning of the day is somebody who's just curious of all the possibilities and crazy enough to go and figure it out.
Okay, all right. So that's pretty cool to hear. Now, about this $40,000 debt, I want to tell us, how did you get into this? How did this happen?
Yeah. So, that's the question a lot of people ask. And, I tend to tell, the story as such is we were just, my wife and I were just, chasing the American dream, curious, buying a house and, living life and, racked up some credit card debt, student loan debt, payday loan debt, stuff like that. But when you really think about it, this has started, from before we were born. It was from, passing off from our parents. We were just basically doing what we thought we were supposed to be doing. But it wasn't until we got into the situation and the advice that was given to us to get out of the situation was the typical advice to acquire more debt, to get out of debt, just didn't make sense to us. And we started seeing ourselves running a rat race and continuously going on a circle and a path that was not doing us any justice. It was actually hurting us as a couple and ruining our marriage at the same time. We figured out that we need to come together and create a new rules to the system and create our own path to getting out of the situation. So literally, it really started when I was working at the bank and I realized the advice that I was giving to my clients, I was actually practicing and it was hurting me. So I knew it was hurting them. And when I when I left my job at the bank and I went
Now,
full time
hold on
entrepreneur.
a second, Mr. Wingo. I don't want to cut you off. Now, you said
Yeah.
that you was giving advice that was ended up hurting you. What advice was that?
I'm glad you called
Because
it that because most people don't.
yeah, because I'm like, I want to make sure I'm not getting that myself. So please
Yeah,
tell me the
that,
listeners out there, what was that?
Yeah, I love that you called us that because most people don't. So basically, what I'm saying is your bank that you bank with is not the best financial advice that you should be getting. You should seek some type of advice from someone that is passionate about the industry, understands the industry, and lives the industry, and can tell you situations. Because that when I was working at the bank, I was given the advice I was giving people to get out of debt was to acquire more debt, refinance your debt, take a home equity line of credit out, or get another credit card, consolidate that debt because this credit card has a 0% annual fee for 12 months, and then all that advice that I was given, that was the bank was pushing us to give. Um, it wasn't. I was living by that advice. It wasn't working for me. So I know that's the reason why millions of people are in a bad financial situation because, in my opinion, that they're going to the bank to get their financial advice instead of going out and seeking the true financial advice and really figuring out what the core of the problem is causing them to be in their financial situation.
So sitting back listening to this, I remember, that sounds like what people tell you, like, oh, well, you owe $20,000 on the credit card, so what we're going to do is we're going to, your credit card is giving you 11% interest. You got this other credit card is 0% interest, so you just should transfer all your debt onto this credit card. And you're saying that pretty much that's bad advice. Why is that bad advice?
Yeah, because it basically just put you into another situation. Most people are creatures of habit, so they think they got free money or extra money on the side. And I truly believe that the core problem is more mental. If you can't get your mental mindset right, you can't control your financial future, your destination, where you're trying to go. So some of the things that we did to get us out of our situation was one, we focus on our mindset. We focus on creating balance in our life. And so I created the 5 steps to a balanced life, and I really teach this to my clients to this day. And the first one is mentally, we have to think and use our minds in productive ways. We have to strategize and really foresee the future in order to get out of our situation. And in order to get out of that situation and see our future, we have to really look at our past, not just our personal past, but our parents and things like that. Look at the habits and the rights that we were taught, which may not be truly right. They may be wrong, but that's all we know, so it's right. So we have to really look at a lot more than just us as individuals. It's the past that we have to address. So mentally, we have to think and use our mind in productive ways. In order to do that, you have to go back. And it goes to the second one, spiritually. We have to be obedient to something, so a process, something that's bigger than us. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that they realize that they are, they know everything. And I just had this conversation earlier with a client, and basically I told him that in order for you to get to where you want to go, you literally have to forget everything you think you know about money and life and success in order to make room for what you need to know going forward tomorrow. Because we live in a progressive world, society, economy. And if you think you know something, you're living off that old information that was given to you yesterday. In this high-paced economy, by tomorrow it's going to be old. So you have to always be thinking ahead. So I know I'm kind of rambling going into it, but I'll just real quickly cover those 5 steps. It's mentally thinking and use your mind in productive ways, spiritually being obedient to the process, physically taking care of your body inside and out, socially, knowing how to talk the language of success. And then I left financially last, and that's learning the rules of money. And the reason why I left that one last is because as you know, being in the financial industry, money doesn't do anything. Money is so easy to obtain, you know. But if you're mentally, spiritually, physically, and socially out of whack, the money means nothing. So if you have those four, the money will find you automatically. So that's the reason I left that last. So that's a little bit of the mindset and the process that we took upon as a family and a household. And that's the foundation of our concept, Wingonomics, that got us out of it. And we just teach everybody else to follow those concepts.
Now, let's make this a little bit more practical, right? You say how it's got to be a mental shift, it got to be a spiritual shift, things like that, taking care of your body inside and out, right? So let's say, for example, you have the average person out there that 34 years old, family of four, 35 years old, family of four, middle class, got $20,000 of debt. Now, usually when people have that type of debt, it's not because it's usually because you're trying to speed up a purchase. It's like, hey, I want to get this laptop. It's Black Friday. It's on sale for $1,200. I can just throw it on a credit card and pay the credit card off later, right? Because I have a credit card. But you don't think about like, hey, if you just wait, save up some money for 3 months, you can go buy the same cash because I can get it right now because it's a sale, great deal. I save this much money. Now, with that concept, just kind of get the idea of how people usually get into that situation, and it's usually a situation that happened that kind of the straw that breaks the camel back because a lot of people that are in the middle class and the upper middle class that are driving, your wife's driving a nice car, the husband's driving a nice car, they live in a nice middle class neighborhood, they get nice paying jobs and stuff like that. A lot of them don't realize that they're really about 3 paychecks away from, they think that like, oh man, look, I got a nice car, I got a nice house, I got nice clothes, I go on a nice vacation, I'm doing well, my husband's doing well. And like you said in your story, all it took was boom for one person to lose their job.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whoa, look at these car notes. You're like 2 paychecks
I like to
away.
call those people, those people are people who believe in popularity over profitability, but they don't realize that they're going broke safely.
Safely? Yeah.
They're going broke safely. They don't realize that they're following the norm, and their standard or of average is really a destruction waiting to happen.
Okay. Now, when someone gets into this, that's the psychological mindset. Because, usually, growing up, I always considered being financially, I could consider success, I match success with materialism. Whereas I looked at oh, well, he has a nice car, so he's successful. Or she has a nice house, or they live in the side of town, whatever the case may be, he dresses this way, that means that person is successful. That's that I was psychologically and socially taught without even knowing it. Nobody really told me that, but I was just socially taught that. So when you start to experience success and you start to make some cash and you start to get credit cards, you start to buy stuff that simulates your success. Well, I work hard, so I should have this or whatnot.
Yeah.
And you start to think that you have elevated to a level that you really haven't even elevated to because you think that, hey, I'm making this money and I'm doing this, I'm making this type of money. I have this type of access to the checks are coming in. And all it takes is for you to lose that contract, for you to lose that job, for something to happen to your income. And you are technically like 6 months away or 2 paychecks away from being lower class and you don't even realize it. Yeah. Now, the point I want to get into it now, Mark, is once you got into this situation, how on earth did you dig yourself out? Because I know in your article you're saying, hey, I lost my job. How did you dig yourself out of this situation?
Yeah, I dug myself out. Well, first of all, I agree with you, Sex. We owned a 5-bedroom house. Drove a 2006 Cadillac EXT. My wife had a Chevy Tahoe. We was living nice. I thought we was middle class. But when it all happened, we dug ourselves out by really going through. Like my wife was, getting pissed off at me. Excuse my language saying that if that's not allowed, but she was getting mad at me. We were fighting and fussing, and people were spreading rumors. Someone was true, but I was in denial, and we literally had to take 2 steps back actually more than 2 steps back. And I literally, man, I literally just kind of gave up. I went was looking for a job. My wife was literally taking care of everything, and I actually found a few jobs that have here and there, and I actually went back to work for the bank, and thought I was done with entrepreneurship. And then another wake up call happened from there. So we really went through ups and downs, and we cashed out 401ks, and that's how we got into the credit card debt after we lost the house because we was living off the credit cards. But it wasn't until I was committed to something that was bigger than me, and made sure my wife understood the path that we were going on, the journey that we was going on, and that the information that we were given from our parents and other people around us was not the information and the path that we want to go on. And we decided to do this as a team. That's when the process became easier. And my wife really understood when I was sitting at home receiving unemployment income that I was really transforming myself into what I call a superhero. And what I mean by a superhero is I became Mr. Mom. And I did all the things that I had to do, meaning do my daughter's hair, clean the house, wash the clothes, iron my wife's scrubs and things like that. I was actually taking on that role. But at the same time, I was sitting back, taking steps back. We literally took on a philosophy of going cash broke to be debt free. So literally we was eating ramen noodles, and I called it the man with the four fingers hamburger helper. We were sacrificing all that stuff, taking the kids out of after school programs, taking the kids out of sport, sports and stuff like that. We literally took on that philosophy, going cash broke to be debt free for those years. And out of that, it allowed me to take those steps back and really refocus on what I wanted to do with my future. Getting my insurance license. I was writing my book, finishing my book, and putting together systems in place so that we can really have an outline to follow. And I tell you, when we catapulted, when we took it to the next level, is when my wife really understood the vision. And I presented it to her, and she was like, you know what, I love this. I'm going for this. And that's when we really start to excel in our careers. And my career, then she understood her career, her job wasn't what she wanted to do. And Prince, I can tell you, like, my wife quit her job about a little over 3 years ago. And so basically she's retired from working. She works for our company now, but that 6 years ago, I couldn't envision that to happen. But if I wouldn't have took those steps back and became Mr. Mom and did my part, we just gave up on a relationship. We let this money ruin us and family ruin us, the rumors and stuff like that, it wouldn't have worked out. But me being this curious person, I say, let me show her what I'm doing. I'm not just at home watching Sports Center, in my underwear. I talk about this all the time. I'm not just at home watching Sports Center in my underwear, doing all this stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. I'm really working on Facebook. I'm creating a brand without really knowing what a brand was at the time, but I'm building this brand awareness. So now, fast forward, now I am who I am. I'm Mr. Wingonomics, one of America's top financial experts, who's written a book, been featured on Forbes and this, that, and the other. I was curious enough to do that stuff. But yeah, man, just get my wife aboard, that's when things really start to shift.
And I wanted to mention that to our listeners. He is right. I'm sorry during the introduction I didn't introduce him right. Yes, he has been on Forbes, CNN, NBC, Black Enterprise. He's out there doing things, like you got, so I apologize for that, for not including that in your intro and things like that. Now, you wrote this book, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying, before we get into your book, when you became Mr. Mom, and you said, hey, so pretty much you're saying, hey, we're just going to live off of cash. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. My wife's income, yeah, and my unemployment income. Everything was cash.
So you just pretty much just cut up the credit cards.
We cut up the credit cards. We wasn't paying on the credit cards, so we was getting sent to collection. We was fighting collection, setting payment arrangements. We had 3 payday loans. We was in a situation, man.
Oh man, yeah, so what was the mental state going from the, I never had the 2006 Cadillac, but you had it, how was it going from like having, 5-bedroom house and this and that and to, at home in your underwear watching ESPN? Like, what was the mental state to go through?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was tough because of the perception that everybody else had of us. we're a humble couple. My wife is humble. I'm a humble dude, so it was easy for us. But living up to that perception of everybody else was the hardest part. But the thing is, the lease was up on the Cadillac, so that was easy to get back up. The Tahoe, I actually got into a car accident after we turned the lease. We went down to one car. I got into a car accident. Thank God for gap insurance, but I was kind of upset when I got into the car accident. I was thankful no one got hurt, no injuries happened. But I totaled out the truck, but I was upset because we was 3 months behind on the car payment of the truck. And I had closed the deal, a mortgage deal, and I paid the mortgage. I mean, paid the car note, and it was all that we had.
Wow.
And I get into a car accident, and that was paid off. But it was humbling going to one of those, I don't even know what to call it. It was called Car Hop. They're still in Minnesota. And we went and got a Chevy Impala that was raggedy. I mean, it was bad. It was tough going down to that car, man. And we paid that bad boy off. We just recently sold that car when we moved here to Atlanta because we knew it wasn't going to get from Minnesota to Wisconsin. So we sold that. We bought another car. We paid that car off. So we own our car free and clear. We own a 2003 Chevy Trailblazer, and we Uber if we need additional rides. But it was tough. But as we understood the vision, it became easier. And once we paid that car off, that was the first time we ever paid something off. That felt good. And we just kept riding that momentum of ownership and accomplishing and having more money in the bank than opposed to what's going out on a monthly basis.
So, and to speak on, like you said, the social piece. I forgot the word the word you used there. The social pressures, I would like to say. And I was having a candid conversation with somebody the other day. I was like, like it's just something about, when I go home, you have that culture, you kind of like, you want to look successful. You kind of have that social pressure, I have to look this way. I have to be this way. This has to be my perception. So you end up going to buy clothes that you usually don't wear or that you usually probably wouldn't care about, or get a car that you probably wouldn't care about just because, the social pressures of, man, I got to have this nice car. Now, to some people, I'm like, if you're one of those, if you're a car person, to like, hey man, my life goals to have a Camaro and blah blah. That's to make you feel happy. Life is not forever. Go ahead, have fun for. But I know a lot of times you have a lot of social pressures with getting things that you probably necessarily wouldn't care about, getting yourself in a bad situation because of that. Now, one of the things I want to ask you this question: and do you believe that, or not believe, but would you recommend or not recommend? I mean, say someone to get a new car, or would you recommend them get an old car that they can pay for?
My thing is do whatever makes you happy. Because life is all about a feeling. So if you feel good and that's what you want, do it. My job as a financial professional is to make sure that you can afford it.
Okay.
So when I go through my teaching with my clients, I never tell them no. You tell me what you want, and my job is to figure out how to help you get it.
That's a good look on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because that's just how I am, and don't judge me based upon my feelings, because I'm not going to judge you based on yours. I just choose to drive this type of car. My car's been featured CNN and everything. It's called the paid off edition. And it's funny. Yes, paid off edition. It's funny because I had a real heated conversation with a potential client, and notice I said the word potential. I met a client and we were talking, everything was good, and she heard me on the radio, called me. We sit down and I start going through all this, financial analysis and illustrations for her. And I was going to my clothes and trying to say, well, let's work together, whatever. And she asked a valid question. And her question was, why should I work with you and you drive that raggedy car? Now, at first I was kind of blown away, Prince. I'm being honest with you, man. I was blown away. But then I snapped back into Mr. Wingonomics and left Mark Wingo on the side. I was like, Mr. Wingonomics stepped in and said, you know what? This is the exact reason why you should work with me. I'm not selling you something to pay my car note. My car is paid off. So no matter if I close this deal with you or not, I'm still going to be $800 richer than you because your auto expenses total up to $800. This is what you just showed me. And she was speechless, but I didn't get her as a client because she was still stuck on that perception. Her financial advisor or financial professional is supposed to drive a Mercedes and this, that, have this fancy. education and fancy office and stuff like that, and I just didn't deliver based upon her perception of what that was.
That perception is a beast, But to speak on that, right? Um, to talk about that. For people who follow me now, I don't know when people who figured out follow me or whatnot, whatever the case may be. I was at Warren Buffett shareholders meeting this spring, and the reason why I bring that up is if you look at I did a little 5, 6, 7 minute documentary in it. In that documentary, I'm speaking with the Grotz Steakhouse owner, right? And the Grotz is where Warren Buffett has his the last day of his meeting. That's where him and like Bill Gates and all these other people, they come in. That's where they have their dinner at. This place looks like a cafe. It is a cafe, really. Nothing fancy about it at all. Right? Great food, but nothing fancy about it at all. But my first day there, I was sitting at the bar, and the owner comes up. He started talking to me, and he knew Mr. Buffett very well, like back from the '80s. And he sat down. He told me a story. He said, "Hey, you won't believe this, but he's on the interview. He was like, Buffett drove a Buick for a very long time, and he was like, Buffett's Buick broke down outside, and he was like, you wouldn't touch it. Outside of the restaurant was Warren Buffett and Bill Gates with the hood up trying to fix his Buick." And he was like, that's when he finally got rid of the Buick, and he went and got a Cadillac. And he's like, that's the same car. When he got the Cadillac, he's been driving that Cadillac, since. He was like, he comes here every Monday. I'm right in the middle between his office and his home. He comes in every Monday, and he's been driving that Cadillac ever since. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, Warren Buffett, richest man in the world, you know, billions on top of billions, driving a Buick. It's like, yeah, guy drove a Buick. And then one of the things that shocked me was I was doing an interview behind the steakhouse. Warren Buffett was there, Bill Gates was there, all this, Berkshire, all these other people. I was interviewing somebody behind the steakhouse. And just so happened in the middle of my interview, Warren Buffett comes out.
Wow.
He comes out and he gets in his car. And his car was the Cadillac DTS, like a 2008. Like a 2008. So you talk about a humbling experience. He got into the back seat. The security got into the front, and the store owner was helping him get into his car. He was like, "Yeah, he drives his car by himself when it's not the meeting, but usually when it's had the meeting, he'll take security or whatnot. Sometimes he drives himself." And I'm sitting here like, you mean to tell me, And I saw Bill Gates. Bill Gates got into a Tahoe. So
yeah.
There was no limousines. It was no had a Tahoe. So when I think of that, it's a very humbling experience to see that. And I was like, this is not what I read. This is not what somebody told me. This is what I saw with my own 2 eyes.
Right.
This is what I saw with my own 2. So when I sit back and I say, oh, let me go get this Mercedes to go get a client, it's like you got some of the richest and wealthiest people in the world that are, they, like you said, they understand that philosophy. Like, you can go off and tell this story. You be like, hey, this is not, what I heard or what I read in an article or what somebody told me is what I saw with my own eyes. So, but that particular time when I saw Buffett, that was like my 5th time seeing him, at that particular over the 3-day weekend that I was there. But that was the truth. I saw him get into. I was like, wow, this dude get into it's like a '08. I have I know people that are, like you said, driving Mercedes and nowhere near on that level. So when someone looks at someone's car and says, oh, well, he's not doing well, I don't want him to be my financial advisor, or he doesn't wear that type of suits, because they probably understand the philosophy of how money works.
Right.
So, and that's what I thought was up. But I digress. I want to get off the topic. I just thought about that when you said, hey, I had a potential client that was shaming me about my car. And I was thinking to myself, and you can go look at it. The Berkshire documentary that I did somewhere towards the end or whatnot, you have the Grotz Steakhouse owner. He tells that story. He's like, yeah, he drove a Buick for God. When he told me that, I was like, dude, I got to get this on tape. I don't believe this. He's like, yeah, I've been knowing Buffett since the '80s. My wife is one of his CEOs. He comes here every Monday. and he's like, yeah, his car was broken down outside in the restaurant. It was a Buick. I'm like, you can't. It's like, yeah, it was him and Bill Gates. They came here together and they was outside trying to fix this Buick, and like, this is crazy.
I'm going to check that
So
out.
exactly, yeah, you can see it. His name is Gene. What is I can't think of Gene's last name, but he's the owner. He purchased the steakhouse, but Buffett goes there every Monday, and he has his shareholders meetings there. The last day they go to the steakhouse, and I saw him there. I saw Bill Gates there. I can't even think of all the people that I saw in that little steakhouse. That was a cafe, nothing fancy, nothing like it's a steakhouse, but it's nowhere near like a Ruth's Chris. It's good steak,
Hmm.
but it's very down, old school like cafe type. And
Yeah, I think I seen an
I,
interview with Warren Buffett and Jay-Z eating there.
yeah, that probably was it. That probably was it. Garage Steakhouse. So their owner was sitting there and told me the whole story and very down to earth guy and stuff like that. So I saw Buffett there himself, and he was like, "That Cadillac you saw when that Buick broke down, he got that Cadillac and he never traded it. It's like some every now and then he may come when he ride with other people. He may ride in a BMW because his younger staff may have a BMW or something like that. He may ride with them, but but him himself." They told me where he lived. There's nowhere in the world you could have told me Warren Buffett lived there. I thought it was a joke. I was
Right.
like, Warren Buffett, he doesn't live here, And
I've heard that.
I was talking to his staff, and his staff was like, and his from his house to his job is straight down the road, right down the road, like a mile straight, no turns, no nothing, just a mile straight down the road. And
Wow.
when he starts off his meeting, is him in that Cadillac going to McDonald's drive-through. so, so it's him. He going through the drive-through. He orders his food and come into his office. So it's right down the road. And when I met his staff, that's just very small, like 10 people. And it was like, yeah, he drives himself. That's his house. I'm like, Buffett don't live there. And it's like that's what y'all just tell people, right? It's like, no, he literally lives there. Like yeah, that's what he.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a regular house in a regular neighborhood. Nowhere in the world Warren Buffett lives there. Like, yeah, he lives there.
Yeah.
So that's just something that I was able, I had the fortune to see with my own eyes in Omaha, Nebraska. So, but yeah, so that's something you can probably tell one of your clients of, hey, something to think about it. But I digress into that. So you got into this book,
Yeah.
right? And what made you write this book? And just for everybody that's out there that don't know, the link will be in the description box. And, as always, what we're going to do on the Investor Show, we're going to give away 2 copies. We got Wingonomics, How to Become a Cash Flow Millionaire on Any Budget in Any Market. So for anybody that's out there that types in or emails me first at axprince@royalfinancials.com, that emails me a comment that says, Mark. You email me the word Mark. The first 2 people to do that, send me your address, and I will mail it to you no matter where you're at around the globe. For the people that don't win,
Sweet.
you will have to, click on the link in the bio and check it out that way, or whatever the case may be. Now, you got into this book. What does this book mean? Can you explain to this cash flow for millionaires?
Yeah.
Cash flow millionaires?
Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of the book, man, to be honest with you, Prince, it was never supposed to be what it is today. I think, I don't think I know when I was writing the book, I was just basically doing it as a therapeutic process just to get everything off my chest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the title is basically How to Become a Cash Flow Millionaire on Any Budget in Any Market. And it basically goes to what we were just talking about, letting you know that you can become a cash flow millionaire. But the thing is, it's all a mindset. What is a millionaire, right? We really don't know. We know the commas and the decimal points in the bank account defines millionaire, but there are some millionaires who are broke. There's billionaires. Well, there's probably not billionaires, but there's millionaires who are broke, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's all a mindset, and the book opens up with the foundation that we just talked about of creating a balanced life, and those are the 5 things. So we really focus on getting that mental mindset put together and arranged, and teaching people to focus on that. So that's the foundation of the book, is the mindset.
Okay. So for people out there that say, well, how can I become like you sit at home and you was going through your situation. How did you build a business? How did this come about?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't talk about this too much in the book because it's evolved, from when I wrote the book. But I honestly believe that there's 4 levels of business, and in order for you to be successful, you have to experience all 4 levels, just like I did. And the first level of business is you have to be willing to hustle, right? You have to be willing to do anything that you can't do to generate some business without risking going to jail. And some people risk going to jail to hustle. I'm just not that person, never done that stuff, but that's that's the first level. You have to get that hustler mentality, right? Once you surpass that hustler mentality, you go to entrepreneurship. That's basically where you're creating that self brand. You're really taking it serious. You may start, writing a book. You may want to focus on branding yourself on social media, create a speaking platform, creating a following. A tribe is what people are calling, creating that following. That's entrepreneurship. Those are the first 2 entry level ones of business that I really focus and teach people to focus on in the beginning. Now that you got your hustle on, you're an entrepreneur, you need to go to starting a business. That's where you have an LLC behind you. You created systems, you got people in place, you're delegating and different things like that. You're really starting a business, you're building a business. Once you surpass that and you've grown, you're scaling your business to new heights, new levels. Now you need to build a corporation mindset. That's where it's payroll involved. You have offices and you have operating expense. You have the full thing. So that's the mindset that I took on. I was just hustling in the beginning, to be honest with you. I was, trying to work a couple odd jobs in the beginning, working 10-hour shifts 4 days a week and just trying to bring some extra money. I was hustling the unemployment system. Thank God President Obama kept, extending it. So I was able to stay on unemployment a little bit longer. I was out there doing a paper route to get a couple bucks. I was doing little things outside the house when my daughter would start going to preschool. I was hustling. Then I said, you know what, this book is coming out. Let me become an entrepreneur. Let me brand myself more on social media. Let me push this book. Let me speak at different places for free or a couple bucks here and there. Then I said, you know what, I'm insurance license. Let me bring it all together. Let me start a business to get my insurance license and line it up with my Wingonomics philosophy, stuff like that. So I put it all together. And now I'm just in building a corporation. Our company is based out of Minnesota. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. We have close to 100 tax offices across the country. We're scaling our business. We're hiring people. So those are 4 levels of business that anyone has to go through if they want to succeed in business. And when you think about it, that makes perfect sense.
Now, what's the difference between a hustler and an entrepreneur?
Yeah, a hustler just go get it. There's no rhyme or reason. They'll say you anything. You got a problem, I'm gonna solve
it. Now, how do you evolve into an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's when you really fit. Figuring out what that one thing is. You're really scaling back a little bit, saying, "Let me put this all together. I'm a master one thing, but I'm still gonna focus on my jacks. But I'm gonna master this one first. I'm gonna be a public speaker. I'm gonna be a motivational speaker talking about financial education. That's my master of one, right? But I still got my hustler inside the back. That's my jack of all trades. I'm a master you with this one of financial education. But once you get past that, I'm gonna sell you my books. I'm gonna get a life insurance policy. I'm gonna do your taxes. I'm gonna create a budget plan for you. Those are all my jack of all trades. So that's that entrepreneurship.
Okay. Now, when you go into that, and you said the third level was what, corporation, you said?
Starting a business.
Okay.
Yep. So now you got that hustler.
Got the hustler, you got the entrepreneur.
Yeah, you got that hustler mentality. Then you become an entrepreneurship where you're figuring out your master of one, and then your jack of all trades is your hustle. And now you're saying, you know what, I'm gonna put an LLC behind this. I'm gonna start a little, business with it. Create platform systems, and and delegate some stuff. And you're basically just starting a business. That's what that is.
And the ultimate level was corporating, where you're like scaling yourself and stuff like. Now, for people who want to get in contact with you or follow you or to check you out or maybe get you for a speaking engagement, how do they do that?
Yeah. As corny as this sounds, Prince, Google me.
Okay, hey,
Google me.
That's the first place everybody goes nowadays.
Yeah.
If you get someone a business card, I say, hey man, you heard about Mark Wingo and blah blah. The first place people go to validate you essentially is Google. So if it's like
Yeah.
if I can't Google you and nothing comes up, it's like it's not real.
Yeah. If you ain't Googleable,
Especially
you ain't popping.
yeah, it's like you ain't popping, you ain't. I don't know who you are. Like I don't get it. So it's the same thing. You kind of if someone wants to give me something and say, hey, check this out or whatever the case may be. Probably the number one most research tool I probably imagine in the world. I'm pretty sure it's probably in the world. It's probably somebody gonna go to Google and be like, you type it in. If I get nothing, so if I got to go to like 2 pages, I don't think this is real.
Yeah.
I don't think this is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if I
Yeah.
go in
So
there
if
and I type in your name and you're all over the place, like okay, all
yeah.
right, this might be
Yeah.
real. So now let me go a little bit further. Let me check out his website. Let me check out his social media. Let me check out all the other good stuff and say, you know what,
Yeah.
this really might be something. So
Yep. So
that's pretty cool.
if your listeners Google Wingonomics, and that's WINGONOMIC, you'll find me.
Mm-hmm.
If you Google Mark A. Wingo, you'll find me. But let me put a
Mm-hmm.
disclaimer out there if you Google Mark A. Wingo, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that I have to say this, but there is another Mark A. Wingo who's an older white gentleman who was in the financial industry. I don't know if is still in prison, but he was in prison for financial fraud. That is not me.
Wow.
He's from Oklahoma, and when he committed his crime, I was in high school.
Wow.
So we've been fighting for years trying to get that taken off the search, but we got it. I think we got it to the end of the first page on the second page, but it's still showing up here and there. So Wingonomics, Mark A. Wingo, or New Beginning Financial Group, you'll find me.
Now, what services you provide out there? Why would people want to reach out to Wingonomics?
Yeah, so our core. So going back to the whole 4 levels of business, our core of our business is financial education. So, we talk all finances basically, but the services that we provide, which is our jack of all trades, is we do 3 things really well. Who I tell people, we teach people how to create a financial portfolio, so life insurance and things like that, annuities, and
Oh, I think we just lost Mr. Mark Wingo. I don't know what happened to the line there, but you guys hold on. We're going to get him back.
You're now tuned in to The Investor Show. Where we teach simple wealth creation for the common investors. With investment advisor, award-winning author, international speaker, and founder of Royal Financial Investment Group, Prince Dykes.
Okay, so we got him back. I knew he would be back. I knew probably something happened on his end or whatnot, whatever the case may be. So now, I was asking, what services you provided. Let's get into that.
Yeah. So I don't know where we cut off.
I think you was explaining like what services you provided. So I guess we'll just take it from the top.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, we do 3 things really well, and that's financial planning, mortgages, and taxes. Those are 3 things we do really well with our company. But we provide a holistic approach to your financial planning. So we're focusing on our 7 principles of money, which is the Wingonomics concept, and that's where we're focused on helping you change your money mindset. Secondly, we're helping you control your spending. The third thing we do is help you eliminate your debt. The fourth thing is reducing your taxes. The 5th principle is teaching you how to be your own boss. The 6th step is to build your financial portfolio. And last but not least, and in no particular order, the 7th one is how to protect your assets. Those are our financial principles of Wingonomics.
Awesome. Okay, all right. So that was pretty great, for you telling about you pretty much are just a financial powerhouse, right? And the other good thing you're saying, about you got your book, Cash Flow. For everybody that's out there that missed it or whatever the case may be, if you did hear this part, drop in the word Mark to get yourself a free copy of his new book. How long has this book been out?
That book is Jesus, that book has been out for years, and it's living. It's living out there. So
Okay.
we have, yeah,
So
we do have more other books. We have other affirmation books, but that book right there is the most popular one.
okay. So check that book out. Check his book out for the two people who do win the two copies. Make sure if you drop the word Mark and I ask you for your mailing address, you got to give me your mailing address because I've seen people go in, you take up a spot, you don't see your mailing address. I don't have a place to send it. So make sure you follow up and send your mailing address so I can mail it to wherever you're at around the globe. So last time I think when the Wolf of Wall Street came on, Jordan Belfort, somebody was in Germany. I was like, goodness, had to get this thing way out from Hawaii to Germany. But hey, we made it happen. We glad to be global like that to somebody way out there in Germany is listening. So I thank you for giving out the topics of telling how you got down that slippery slope. The things I took away from this, Prince takes. I always take something away from the people that come and stop by the show because I'm always a student. I will always be a student. One of the things I took away is that a lot of people who are in the middle class, who think they're in the middle class, they're only really one straw away from being in a financial hardship. Like you said, he had a 5-bedroom house. He had the nice car. His wife had the nice car. Everything is going great. He's working at the bank. Man, he's living their life. So all of a sudden, we have an economical downturn, and now his lovely life that he thought he was having, turned upside down, where he's living off of one income, his wife's income, and unemployment, and hustling, trying to figure out, hey, what I'm going to do. And I like the way he broke that down. From saying, hey, you first you go from a hustler mindset, then you elevate to an entrepreneur, where you start to build a brand and kind of hone in your skills. Then you make an LLC to where you divvy out and get a little help with you, and then you look into incorporating. So I do like that aspect as well. And Harwin said, living off of cash, sitting back and saying, hey, we don't have the money to pay for it. We're just not going to buy it. Right. And another big piece I like what he said with the client is we don't tell people what they shouldn't buy and what they shouldn't do. We say, hey, this is what you want. This is how we're going to help you get there. I like that aspect. Versus saying, hey, don't go get that new Jaguar that you always wanted. Go buy this car. Go buy this 2002 Honda Toyota cash. Right. And another thing that we hit on was with his potential client that didn't like the car he was driving. And said, hey, just do your car and do your office. And I just don't feel like this is the place to, this would be, this is not, this doesn't have the illusion of being a financial place. And it's a thing that it took me back to Omaha, Nebraska. People would be shocked to realize that Buffett don't even own the building that his office is in. He works out of he rents the floor. That's it. So, and um, somebody like him, he could buy the whole freaking city if he wanted to. But he just gets what he needs. And you're talking about one of the top people in the financial industry. So don't let the looks of things it got me into the Buffett store to tell him about his car and what he drove and stuff like that. So that's something I want you guys to think about. That's something I want you guys to think about, looking at the perception and feeling those social pressures, feeling like, hey, in order for me to be talking about, in order for me, since I work at this job or I have this type of living or whatever, I have to buy these things because this is what success looks like. So, Mark, is there anything out there that we didn't touch on? Anything you want to say out there to the listeners around the globe?
I mean, I think my last take, just to summarize up what, my life and, anyone listening who's, at the crossroads or whatever, trying to figure out is if you have a vision, speak your vision, work your vision. And if you do those three things, you'll potentially be living a dream. That's summarizes it up in a nutshell. Take action.
Okay. Take action. And he said, if you want to find Mark Wingo, you know what to do. Google him. So he is Google. So, so definitely check that out. So if you want to, if you're looking to figure out what he's doing, you want to check out his book and stuff like that. You want to find out, if you like the story, if you like when Mr. Wingo stopped by, you like the whole concept of Wingonomics, feel free to stop by and check him out. Grab his book if you want to. And if that's it, guys. Oh yeah, of course, for you guys who's listening, don't forget I'll be at Jones County High School on December 3rd. But anyway, guys, until the next video, podcast, cartoon, or whatever you see me do crazy around the globe, peace, be safe. I'm out, and thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Simple Investor Radio Show with author and investment advisor Prince Dykes.